Doctor Strange 2 Unprecedented Massive Reshoots confirmed. Gee, I wonder why they had to do that. Well, anyway, here's the story over at Cosmic Book News. It's confirmed that Doctor Strange 2 went through unprecedented massive reshoots, so much so that the entire movie had to be refilmed, which confirms those earlier reports about troubles surrounding the flick. Yeah, well, while Marvel movies and other films do go through reshoots, it's said that a majority of Doctor Strange 2 had to be redone. It goes on, which has never happened before. Well, not to Marvel, sure. Not that we've heard anything on a massive scale here. But it happened for Star Wars. And then, of course, there's DC's Justice League mess. Yeah. Anyway, the news comes from the longtime friend of Doctor Strange 2 director Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell. Wow, what do you know? As a Redditor attended a recent meetup with the actor where Campbell confirmed the reshoots for Doctor Strange 2. The deal was Doctor Strange is interesting. The majority of the film was reshot extensively, so I have no idea what's in there and what isn't. I did a cool scene with a character that's been beloved for years, and we'll have to see what ends up in the movie. I don't know if it's still in there. It's a pretty cool part. Ruby. So anyway, there you go. That confirms the story. Now he goes on. We originally heard it from Grace Randolph again. And she says, not because of the pandemic. No, and she goes in that maybe they wanted more Easter eggs in it to make it more of this multiverse stuff. It's supposed to be multiverse of madness, not multiverse of meh. And maybe that's what it was. Yeah, maybe so. The good news is that the apparent problems with Spider-Man No Way were fixed, but it has also been said Doctor Strange 2 underwent massive reshoots in a short period of time. As following Grace's report, the Hollywood Reporter released their own information on the reshoots and stated Benedict Cumberbatch and the cast were reshooting for 6 weeks, 6 days a week. And the site also compared the reshoots to filming a whole other movie. Wow. Look, there he is, just conjuring up a whole new one. That's all they had to do. So is Doctor Strange 2 in trouble? Well, it certainly was. Maybe they fixed it. Yeah. So, I know there were plans from the get-go when Scott Derrickson was attached that Doctor Strange 2 was supposed to feature a lot of multiverse characters. So exactly why the entire movie had to be reshot is curious. Yeah. Well, I'll get into that. I also know that both Spider-Man No Way Home and Doctor Strange 2 came about because of DC. And maybe so. You know, I only ever really hear this from him. I don't know of any others, but I don't know, you know, but says that because DC announced DC should keep its mouth shut if this is the case. But anyway, announcing its multiverse plans. And it's really a damn shame that DC sat on its ass about it. It's its own damn fault, really. Because DC Comics, as I've said repeatedly, really got the ball running on this whole multiverse idea within their comics way back when, in the early 60s, I guess. And that was how they ran things until, you know, the late 80s when they blew it all up with Crisis on Infinite Earths. But Marvel had their own take on multiverse, of course. But DC really ran the show on that, and here they're going to lose out because Marvel put out Spider-Man, and now we're going to have Doctor Strange. So they're running a little late with their Flash movie going to do it, but then everybody will say, hey, ripping off Marvel. It's pretty pathetic, and that's how it's going to come across, but that's too bad. So he says, yeah, they copied Captain America Civil War came about because Zack Snyder announced Batman vs. Superman. Well, one actually had a story, and the other one kind of didn't. So did it really matter? I don't know. And then pretty much why Feige went with Eternals in response to Snyder's Justice League. I don't buy that at all. I think Eternals was actually in response to, they announced they were going to do a New Gods film. And that fizzled because it sounded god-awful from the get-go. But then we saw Eternals, and, well, that was pretty god-awful, too. So anyway, Spider-Man No Way Home was also changed from more of a sequel to Far From Home, where this I hadn't heard. Peter was supposed to be on the run following being set up by Mysterio, changed to a multiverse movie. So maybe that was the deal, and they just said, hey, let's jump on the multiverse idea because DC's going to do it. I don't know. I don't think DC's been that serious of a competitor to them. They could have been, but they kept fumbling and stumbling around and stuff. But the multiverse idea was a way they could restore popular characters, but they don't appear to be interested in that at all. But meaning you could recast them and give them another go, despite the fact that people are associating the actors who originally played them with those parts. But nevertheless, these other characters eventually are going to run out of characters that have some amount of establishment from the comics that just aren't really going to carry a major franchise. I mean, maybe one or two can surprise you and do it, but you know, you're going to need a Spider-Man, and now you're going to have to figure out a way to get another Iron Man in there. You really are, and another Captain America, so on and so forth. But they still got to go through their new version of X-Men and the Fantastic Four. So if they can get those right, they'll be pretty good for a while before you got to do that. But multiverse and time warp type stuff could be a way to explain it and to say, yeah, all those movies still mattered, but now it's a whole new universe and stuff like that. Anyway, so he says it's evidenced by Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock scene. It's really very quick, and it just sort of swipes away the troubles of that, even though he still wants... He goes to get Doctor Strange to make everybody forget he's Spider-Man because it's causing trouble for his friends to get into college. Not because he's on the run or anything, but Matt Murdock pulls some lawyerly strings and gets it all fixed. Yeah. So, yeah, that might be the deal. So anyway, he says, we see the pattern forming that Feige plays follow the leader a bit with DC, but obviously wants to do a better job and get the first crack at it before DC does. Well, yeah, he gets, first of all, he gets at it first, and that's, good on him. But so far, they do a better job of it. I'm sorry, I like DC, but man, come on. Plus, they're late to the game, and they didn't need to be. Anyway. What should worry Marvel fans is that Doctor Strange 2 follows Feige's recent blunders, including Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, and all the Disney Plus Marvel shows, they're not very good. And that brings me to the real problem for which is why I'm worried about Doctor Strange. He says it'd probably do good. It's going to have a lot of fan service, but storytelling might not be as good. Yeah, probably, maybe. We'll see. But the thing of it is that the reshoots of reshooting the whole movie might be the best news because all these movies failed, and Feige was just so proud of himself for taking credit for sabotaging WandaVision, which was supposed to feature Doctor Strange, and it was going to set up Doctor Strange's movie. Well, they didn't do that, and they didn't have any other decent story to replace what the original plot was. That's why the show fizzles and becomes really stupid. All because, oh, look, he's white and male. That's a problem. Yeah, and then you got to wonder what kind of woke crap was going on in the original Doctor Strange. And then there was that breakup with the original director who apparently said, why don't we just call it the, Scarlet Witch movie, So I was like, what's this about? Scarlet Witch becomes the main star of Doctor Strange's movie or something like that. And then, and said, it's going to be Scarlet Witch and America Chavez kicking him in the balls and stuff like that. So is that what happened? That's what I was worried about. So maybe oh my God, all our woke movies are failing now. And Spider-Man comes in and just gives people an entertaining superhero story. They think, maybe that's what we should do. So they quickly and hurriedly reshoot Doctor Strange to make it that. And hopefully that's what they did. But it might not. Did they have a story? Do they have something? Maybe they went back to the drawing board from what they originally intended. That was going to come out of the WandaVision show had they left WandaVision alone, and it lines up and works out better that way, and so you could get an interesting story. but more than likely, well, let's just fill it up with all these weird versions of Marvel characters and have a bunch of guest stars in it. Maybe even Tom Cruise as Iron Man. I don't know. But that sort of thing. And oh look, and then there you go. That'll be the end of it. I don't think that's enough because you could talk about the Easter eggs and fan service of the Spider-Man movie, but it was still a pretty compelling story and the best performance of Peter Parker by Tom Holland. Because the other two Spider-Man movies stunk. I'm sorry, they did. But it had a lot of, oh, look. And so it kind of won over. Plus, it's Spider-Man, and it's Marvel Spider-Man. So that's, carries a lot of weight. But hopefully, they didn't trash Doctor Strange. I was very nervous that that's what they were going to do. It's one of the very few Marvel films that I'm interested in seeing anymore. The rest, I just, and you saw last year's films, they were terrible. And this was the only one I had any hope for. I liked the first one, and I was hoping they wouldn't ruin it. And it was beginning to sound like that's exactly what they were going to do. Perhaps, just perhaps, these reshoots saved the day. That's my hope. And that's all we can do is hope until it comes out. So there we are. Other than that, I guess Moon Knight, hopefully that'll break the mold for Marvel D Plus series, because those have been terrible. But hopefully Moon Knight might be the one that breaks out and is pretty cool. So there's that too. So there we go. Best of luck for Doctor Strange.